So welcome to my CCENT CCNA ICND1 study material. This is chapter 22, Basic IPv4 Access Control Lists. So in this chapter, we're focusing heavily on standard ACLs. So part of our objectives is to learn about access control list basics, learn about the standard, look at practicing applying standards, ACLs, and going from there. So location is to filter packets from hosts A and B going towards server 1. So we can filter here, 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 or here. And the question then becomes, where should we filter it? Because when we're working on standard ACLs, we know that we should be applying our ACL on the router nearest our destination. So we should be applying it to R2 and probably to this interface right here. Because standard ACLs go the nearest destination, where an extended ACL goes the closest to the source. So pseudocode to demonstrate an ACL, it could essentially be source IP address, allow, or deny. So comparison of an ACL type, standard numbered. Standard can have names, but the standard normally does its matching based off of IP, source IP, where the extended numbers are going to be ranging in like the 100s, where the standard is going to be like 90s or lower. Extended name does support naming, but the extended matching can be done off of port, can be done off of IP, both from the source and destination. So extended have some more features. So the backdrop for discussion for our list process with ACLs is, again, you want to be the most specific to the most general, because it's going to do it line by line. So it will start at the very top. If you are PCA, it'll go, does this apply? 10.1.1.1, oh, yes it does, so you're permitted. If you're PCB, however, it will go, same thing, 10.1.1.1 permit, oh, I'm not 1, so I'll ignore that, go on to the next one, 10.1.1, any other number, I'm 2, automatically deny. Even though after that it says permit anything from the 10 network, it'll go line by line until it matches. So an ACL item compared from a packet from A, B, and C, same thing we just went through. If we're looking at the source IP of 10.1.1.1, it dings on the first one. If we're doing it from host B, it doesn't ping on the first one, but it pings on the second one. And host C will ping on the third one. It goes in order. Okay, so the logic for a wildcard mask is essentially, if you look at the IP and subnet mask that you are wanting to do, what you normally do is you just kind of flip. So if we have a subnet mask, let's assume this is a /24. So that's 255.255.255.0. Essentially, you flop all the ones and put all the zeros to ones. So this is the new wildcard mask. Here, if we are logging in, so it should be like /16, again, 255.255.0.0. If you flop the ones to zeros and the zeros to ones, it becomes 255, or the 255.255.0.0 becomes 0.0.255.255. Same thing for that guy. So the syntactic correct for an ACL replaces the pseudocode, access list, a number between 1 and 99. Are we permitting? And we can do either an IP and subnet. Again, it won't be its true subnet, it should be the wildcard mask. But this is more like a host, where these are more like networks. And again, specific to the most general. So that's how we program it on a router. But what else do we have to do? So again, line by line, the order does matter. So here's our ACL. We then have to apply it, access list 1. So we apply it by going to the interface we want, and we type IP access group, the number. Are we doing it on the inbound or outbound on that interface? If we want to do some show commands, show IP access list to show you the IP address, show access list to show you the access lists. If we want to look at the appropriate interface, same thing. So if here we're looking at a second example. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some new examples. Here we can actually look at some alternate configurations. Here we have a remark. This will permit traffic from that address. And that's going to permit server S1 traffic to host A1. So we're going to assume that we're probably going to be applying this to a inbound interface on R1. And again here, permit that guy. And again, you'll notice that we have to look at if it's going to be going into the router or out of the router for its processing. So if we look at a show run, we could see it being processed. So example for checking the interfaces, directions for the ACL is, again, we're looking at source. So can this IP address be a source address going that way? It cannot, because S1, that's not its IP address. It can only match going that way. So building one-line standard ACL practice, let's go ahead and try doing these problems. So go and pause so you can work them all out. Again, you got to get the time and practice and program the ACLs one line at a time. So here it is for address ranges. Sometimes individual, sometimes not. So figured out the appropriate matching range. Again, network and the wildcards. Go ahead and pause it to work them out. And lastly is I was changing the address field in an access control list. So here, if we're looking at logging those two in, we can do that with the 00255.255, just like it shows up there. And you'll notice that because we did a 00255.255, those will change. They're just automatically set to 0. And that's actually for this chapter. Thank you.